have the Sun Pharma numbers which have been released on your screen. As you can see, the stock is higher because they have reported a beat as compared to what the street was anticipating. So 12,381 odd crores is what they've reported in terms of the revenue, which equals to a growth of around 10 odd %. We have an EBITDA of around 3,477 crores, which equals to margins of around 28%. So that too has been a beat in terms of the margins because we were anticipating around 26%. And the profit has come in at around 2,524 crores, which is equal to a growth of around 17% on a year-on-year basis and is better than what the street was anticipating at around 2,381 odd crores. So there could be two reasons why Sun Pharma has actually come out with good set of numbers. First is that Taro came out with what was a very good set of numbers this quarter. Their margins were a beat this time round, which came in at around 10 odd %. So the street was anticipating maybe there could be a little bit of an upside on account of that. And secondly, the US business would be important to watch because all of the companies have been showing better than expected addition of US sales on account of Revlimid generic. So Sun Pharma could have benefited from sales of Revlimid generic, the cancer drug. We saw that in Dr. Reddy's as well as Cipla. And we could probably also see the specialty business that Sun Pharma has contributing much better than expectations. We do have a couple of reactions coming in on the Sun Pharma numbers. We have Vishal Manchanda, who's a pharma analyst at Systematix, joining in. Vishal, hi, welcome to the show. Well, definitely looks like a good set.
Yeah, so numbers were expected to be good for Sun Pharma this time around. Their specialty has done, based on the numbers that we saw on the prescription deck, they were looking very strong. Although they have some setbacks on the generics in the US. And India growth was also strong based on the AIOCD data. So overall seems to be a good set of numbers.
But Vishal, just wanted your thoughts about what's taking place for all of these companies, because Cipla as well as Dr. Reddy's, now Sun Pharma, they all have surprised on the upside. How much of this beat would you attribute to probably Revlimid generic for Sun Pharma?
So Revlimid for Sun Pharma is a very small proportion of their profits. So I won't attribute Sun Pharma's performance to Revlimid. But I would attribute at least for Dr. Reddy's and to an extent for Cipla.
Exactly. So why exactly is this delta coming through in the US markets for most of these companies? Because I'm assuming that a part of what we're seeing on Sun would be attributed then to better than expected US sales as well. So you would think that maybe something has changed in the US business when it comes to the base business for a couple of these companies, or is it stock specific? Say, for example, Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, it is linked to Revlimid generic. For Sun Pharma, it could probably be the specialty sales and Taro.
I think the base business has only changed to a small extent, to the extent that the price erosion has moderated. So which was high single digit is probably now at mid single digit. So that makes a lot of difference because the price erosion takes away, entirely is knocked off from your EBITDA. So that's painful. And even if 5% of that, it would add straight away to the margins for companies. So that's meaningful, I think.
Okay. What about the margins? They've come in at around 28%. Again, it's a multi-quarter high for them. I don't think they've reported margins of 28% per se for many quarters. The closest they got was around 27.9% in Q1 of FY24. But this time they've exceeded it quite significantly.
So I think we should attribute this to probably the specialty growth, which is a high margin business, and there is significant leverage there because all the expense that they need to do for building the specialty business is into the base, and these are high value sales. So when they start growing, they really meaningfully add to the operating profits.
Okay, all right. What is it in terms of specialty sales that you're probably estimating this quarter?
I was building about 10% growth on the specialty on a QOQ basis.
Okay, so a Q on Q basis, you're expecting around a 10% growth to probably come through.
Right. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just hold that thought, Vishal, because we do have Forum Parekh joining in from Sharekhan by BNP Paribas. Forum, thanks very much for taking the time out. Your quick thoughts with regards to Sun Pharma. The stock is up around 4%.
Yeah, so Sun Pharma's number has come better than our expectations, and we were working with 10% revenue growth. So the revenue growth has come slightly above our expectations, and EBITDA margin has come, at 28%, which has also surpassed our expectation of 27%. So prima facie, the number looks good. We are still awaiting for more detailed numbers, but the headline numbers currently looks good.
Okay, all right. Vishal, what would the pecking order be for the pharmaceutical stocks now? Because now we've got the frontline stocks come out, Dr. Reddy's, Cipla, as well as Sun Pharma. What would your pecking order be in terms of the earnings outperformance, the performance that they've reported?
I think we would still, so at current market price, most of the stocks that we recommend are coming to a hold now. So they've all run up. But I would still prefer Sun Pharma as the preferred name among the larger pharma names, followed by the smaller names. Among the smaller names, I like Orchid Pharma and Pfizer.
Okay, all right. Forum, your quick thoughts in terms of, what you would want to hear from the management later on when they do hold their investor call?
Yeah, so we would like to wait for the specialty numbers, how it pans out, and the pipeline. I mean, how many more products would they be launching in the specialty sales? And specialty sales have been growing rapidly. So now that they have a higher base, so I mean, would this kind of growth momentum in the specialty sales continue? Is what we would be eyeing from the commentaries, management's commentary.
Okay, all right. Well, Vishal, just before we wrap up, again, a larger perspective question. We do have, issues which Dr. Reddy's has faced on their Bachupalli plant. We do have Cipla facing issues on 2 of their facilities. And now we also have Sun Pharma, which is in focus on account of Halol and the continued issues there. In that context, do you think that the street has just started discounting USFDA issues and now it's not that much of a problem as even a risk to earnings anymore?
Yes, probably it is so. So one is that most companies have got large. So as we have talked about Revlimid earlier, Revlimid is providing a lot of cushion to the earnings. And as long as that is protected in the next for the next 2 years, they have enough time to get these issues sorted and probably then build from there on through the new approvals that they expect from these plants under various compliance problems.
Okay. All right, Vishal, as well as Forum, thank you very much for joining in and taking us through the reaction on Sun Pharma. As you can see, the stock is up around 4%. That's